Ever tried watching your athlete's game from anywhere in the world? With Replayer, you actually can. I had a friend watch his son's game live from his flight. My son watched a live game from the car while we were driving up the California coast. It doesn't matter where you are, grandparents across the country, cousins on the other side of the world, teammates who just moved away, set up the camera, hit go live, and everyone with a link is right there on the sideline. Live streaming is free. Unlimited games, unlimited teams, unlimited users. No complex tiers. Everyone gets access. And forget waiting hours for footage. I recorded a 60-minute game and it was ready in 5 minutes. Players were clipping highlights on the ride home. One camera, made in the USA, unlimited everything. If you never want to miss those moments, head to replayer.com. The link is in the show notes. Family-owned Soccer Innovation is your go-to source for top quality equipment. Whether you're a player, a supportive family member, or a dedicated coach, they have everything you need to elevate your game. For players, their innovative equipment are designed to boost your skills and performance on the pitch. From their agility cones to their portable goals, they have you covered. And family members, they offer durable equipment that's built to last because we know your support is critical to your player. Coaches, trust me, they can provide the equipment you need to run effective training sessions and shape the next generation of soccer players. Visit Soccer Innovations at soccerinnovations.com to start elevating your game with them. And if you use the code PITCH, PITCH, you can receive up to 10% off your next order. Welcome back to Chat by the Pitch. This is Ian Babcock, your host. In part 2 with Kristie and Mark, we shift from the Spain soccer journey into soccer parenting, pressure, advocacy, parent behavior, and letting the kids own the process, and what it really means to support a player without taking over a journey. Let's start this chat and head to the pitch.
Because it's not going to amount to anything. What should we be doing? And if he is going to go over there and play for this team and it's in a different city than he's been in before, help us get situated with housing and because I am not just going to get him an apartment, although I think he could probably manage. He needs to be in some kind of a facility where he's getting
support. Some support.
And so... Yeah. I've made all those connections, not just overseas, but here in the States too, with whoever. He made the team for U.S. Club Soccer, their U90.
ID2.
Their ID2 camp, that he made that roster that year.
So we still keep in touch with those.
He went to Portugal with them, and I've kept in touch with all those people. I actually reached out to the lady, Alex Ribia, that runs all their international programs, and I was like, hey, I don't know if the FIFA card issue is because we were never released from the United States or if it's because, can you look into that for me? Can you help me on the home front? And so she put me in contact with all these people to help me with that. You just have to, I guess my sales background, I'm comfortable in that space and Mark is not. We both have our strengths. We both have
I'm the passive one.
Yeah, but we couldn't do it without you. I mean,
I don't know. Anyway.
No, the logistics just sounds crazy.
It is.
And how do you view... I don't even know where to start with all that because it's
a lot.
It is a lot.
We could talk for an hour and a half more. It is a lot.
It's a lot. We learned a lot that first year. A lot.
Yeah.
And you brought him home. So how long was he technically in Spain for? One school year?
One school year.
August 14th, the first year.
Through June, or through May. Early June,
because he went back after his school year ended when Rayovac said they wanted him at that little April tryout or whatever. He went back at the end of the year and trained with them for another 2 weeks before we brought him home. He lived in Morris's.
So he was there for 2 weeks, and then we sent him back mid-August. Yeah. Roughly. First week, second, and he was there for 5 to 6 weeks.
And is he still doing like a homeschooling style, or is he actually in the high school?
No, so one thing that helped his transition to Spain, he was not in public school before going to Spain. He was in the Alpha residency program. So he was used to going to school, training for 2 hours of soccer, doing 4 hours of school, training for 2 hours of soccer, and then 3 nights a week having team training. So when he went to Spain and we found the academy for him to be a part of that was separate from the club that he had made.
Similar structure.
It was a similar structure. It was training in the morning or training. I don't think they trained in the morning. They just went to school. They bused them to the IB Academy. Then they bused them home from that.
Training.
And then they did the trainings. And then they bused them to their team training at night.
Yeah.
Different world. Way different world.
Yeah.
So it was the same, very similar setup, which was good because in Spain, kids don't train like we do in America. They train with their teams 3 nights a week. Some of them on the top team trains 4 nights a week. But it's an hour and a half long, and that's it. That's all the training you get. So you can find other trainers to do like we do here. Like if we wanted him to work on shooting or we wanted him to work on technical or whatever, we could hire somebody, a Spanish coach, to work with them. But they would work with them like, okay, I'll do Tuesday and Thursday for an hour. So we really needed a soccer academy over there so that he could have all the training he was getting here, because he felt like in his mind he was being lazy if he wasn't doing that. And he wasn't going to stay on top of all of his skills. It took him a year of being there to realize these Spanish kids don't do it this way. But even when he went to the Rayo Vallecano dorm thing, it wasn't even theirs. It was just that soccer dorm that we found that had a bunch of athletes, and they were all soccer athletes, but they played for different teams and they all just lived in one place. They were only getting their 3 to 4 trainings a night, and we had to he went and did his own trainings. He set up his own training, did his own thing for a few hours every morning. And during that time, we were going to go to the local public school. He was going to be registered in the school in Getafe and just be a normal Spanish kid and do Spanish school. But I was afraid he'd start falling behind. And if he ever did come back, he wouldn't be able to graduate in the United States. So I reached out. Texas Tech Online has a school program, a normal high school program that you can do wherever, and it's $200 a course, and we were going to register him for that. But that's when I reached out to Coach Pedro at
Allegiance
DKSC. And DKSC, and I said, hey, if we do have to bring him back in September, I know you've already formed your team. Could he come to Allegiance Academy and go to school, even if I've already registered him for Texas Tech? Can he still come and do your trainings all day with you? He'll do his online school from a classroom or whatever. And he goes, why don't you just sign him up for Allegiance Academy online program instead of Texas Tech? And then that way he just transitions easily back in if he has to. And if he doesn't, then he's doing an online, he's doing the same program our kids here in class are doing, but he's just doing it in Spain. But it's an easier transition. We were like, can we do that? And he's sure. And so we signed him up for their Allegiance Academy school so that if he did come back,
he was already ingrained.
And if he didn't come back, he was getting their local school, but he was also doing regular school where he could graduate with a U.S. degree upon return or upon turning 17, 18, whenever he could graduate and had the courses. So
I have a question just thinking of the education over there. I know England, at the age of 16, you're pretty much done with high school. So 17 and 18 is what they call college, and university starts at 18.
It's the same in Spain, yeah.
It's the same in
Spain. So even in that British academy that we were in, he was
a year 11.
He was a year 10 the first year.
10, yeah.
When he would have been a year 9 back home, and they only they did 9 and 10 were considered the last years of primary education or high school. And then if he had gone back and he had stayed at that same team and done that same setup this year that we're in right now, he would have been in what's considered, they take kids, and if you're making good grades and they think you've got a good aptitude for college and for higher education, then they put you in basically a college track. And if they don't think that you're very smart and that you're not going to do very well, then they basically put you in the trade school path, where you're going to just learn nothing. You're going to learn a trade. You're not going to
electricity or
whatever. You're not going to go on to be a doctor or a lawyer or or even a teacher or professor. Any of those are like higher education things that they put you in. So they were already evaluating, okay, he's going to be in the higher ed path and we're going to send him to school to be whatever, an engineer or whatever. And that's where he would have gone if he had stayed at the IB Academy. He would have gone into one of those tracks. And so we were like, at least I think he's smart enough to go, no, to be in that track. But it was, when we went over to Madrid, they were like, you're going to just go to normal
school,
normal high school over here. And it is the last year. This would have been considered his senior year or whatever. And then they would have told him what track he was going to, but it would have just been in a normal Spanish public school.
Yeah.
It's a different world. It's a completely different world. I was fortunate enough to talk to the folks from Everton FC.
Okay.
The college.
Yeah.
Make sure I say that correctly. And they were explaining how schooling worked over in England, and I was like, my goodness, I imagine how farther ahead a lot of kids would be here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same way over in England. Yeah, it is. He went over and actually, I don't remember the name. He did a visit at an English soccer, like a soccer club, and did a trial. And I can't remember. It was in April timeframe too. We went over there, and it was so spur of the moment. It was just like someone had reached out to us, and I'm like, I'm over here. Let's jump on a plane to London and go. Let's go try this out too. We don't know where we're going to end up, but let's go at least explore this avenue. So we did that too.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to finish up as you as parents, and we're not going to talk about American parents, because I think what we talked about before, I feel like we reset it, is very important for parents to hear. But as parents doing this, what was the hardest and most emotional side of all this? Because I can't imagine, my parents sent my siblings over, one brother to Brazil and one brother to Germany at 19 years old. I can't imagine at 14 how you both felt.
I'll just say my thought was, obviously it's a little bit hard to let your child go, but the hardest thing was just not trying to be there emotionally from here was the challenge, right? Because you know that he's struggling in certain times, and you certainly wanted to be there to give him a hug.
And the time zone difference, it isn't even, if he had a bad practice, chances were we were in bed, and he knows that, and he's not calling to wake us up because he's a considerate, sweet kid, and he's not calling, and I'm like, call us, like
we would be at work.
Whatever, but sometimes it was
a challenge, because definitely.
And when he started towards the end of the year, when we went and tried the Madrid location, we get up pretty early. We get up at about 4:30 to go work out, and I would immediately grab my phone and look at Life 360 to see where he was. And he's at a grocery store, and I'm like, what the hell? And he had just grabbed an Uber and gone to the grocery store to buy some groceries, and I'm like, my baby is all over Spain. What's happening right now?
Yeah.
And he's, I needed groceries. And I'm like, how do you just downloaded the Uber app on your phone and grabbed a Spanish Uber? Like,
yeah. So
that was a little bit crazy for me and a little nerve-wracking at times. But mostly the hardest part was just not, like he said, being able to be there emotionally when I knew life is not just a bed of roses all the time. He's going to have ups and downs, and not being able to give him a big hug and sit there and talk it through with him he just had to do it on his own. He
definitely talked to Kristie a lot more than me.
He called me a lot more than we did. We had he'd be like on the phone with me, and he'd walk in the room and he'd be like, why'd you call her and not me?
I could see that with my son, talking to his mom more than his dad. Yeah. Mean, I think, when it comes to certain things. I say no.
Yeah.
On a little bit of a personal note, but how is this as a family? Because this is not these residency programs. I've looked into them. They aren't free. Was there scholarships? Was there programs to help you do it all? Or was it a financial burden for the family to figure out how to do?
Well, year one, it cost a lot of money. But year one, because of my visa, I had to get a job with a Spanish company, so it provided extra income for us. So that money was the money that paid for it, and
we were lucky to be able to
have that opportunity. Yeah, and so
she no longer works with that company, but the opportunity was there. We took it. And so she kind of had 2 jobs for a while supporting that. But yeah.
And it was soccer related, and it was like, so it was in the industry and doing all this stuff. So it was good. And then we knew, again, those Barca academies and things like that, they're a fun experience for kids, but I'm not knocking them at all. They're great. They're great training for your kid, and they're great opportunities. You're being trained by Spanish coaches, but they are literally so that those organizations can make money.
Yeah.
They are not. Somebody might end up being a professional soccer player one day out of that bunch of kids, but the Barcelona knows that they can't touch any of those kids because none of them have visas. None of them have European passports. They cannot really look and scout those kids
until they're of age,
until they're 18. And so they are looking at those things as a moneymaker. And so if you send your kid over for one of those, just send them over open-eyed, knowing that your kid's going to learn the Spanish game of soccer and probably have some good coaching, and you're paying for a Spanish experience. You're paying for the little Spanish boarding school and for your kid to be able to play soccer while he does it. But it's not if your kid is truly serious about wanting to go professional and wanting to do it in another country, you either have to put in the work as parents to either move there and make that decision as your family, or do what we did and figure out how you can either buy property over there or how you can legally get your kid over there so that they are playing in professional matches, because scouts don't go to practice and trainings. They only go to the games on the weekends, and they only go to the big games, and they only go to games that they've heard there's somebody they need to see, and they go and they watch that kid. And your kid has that moment at that game to turn it on and show them what they have, because if they don't, they're not coming back to see your kid. And so when I say timing and all those other things have to align, they truly have to align. You can't pick up the phone and call a scout to come look at your kid. You can't come. It's just, and they could be there to look at another kid. And if your kid's on the pitch and your kid's outshining that kid, they'll ask the coach, who the hell is that? And just like in America, but in America, I feel like sometimes if they know they want to see a kid, they go to the trainings as well. They go to the different things if they really want to scout and see a kid, whereas in Spain, they don't. They go to the games on Saturday and Sunday, and that is where you're scouted. Yeah. So if he didn't have a FIFA card and he couldn't play in those matches, it was pointless for us to be over there, because we weren't over there to have fun. We were over there because Easton wants to play professionally in Spain.
Yep.
Okay.
So it was a lot of learning and a lot of figuring out their system and figuring out how things worked. And
yep. But it is a financial burden to a degree.
You have to know what you're getting into.
So yeah.
And I think that's the thing. I think most parents think my kid's going over there, they're going to go play for free. It's not always the case.
No.
And
now, they don't have all the club dues and crap like that we have in America.
Yeah.
That really make it a pay to play. If you're like, his entire time he was on Villassar de Mar, which is a professional club, the club dues, including your whole uniform kit, all your trainings, all your games, the buses to games if they're far away, everything is €550.
Yeah.
That's all they charge these kids to be on those teams.
For the year.
Now, it was the room and board that if you're going to live over there, if we had moved over there, it would have been no different. We would have paid €550 for the year for him to play soccer.
And that's it.
Yeah. And if he goes, like for Villassar de Mar, that was the case. But for Rayo Vallecano, which is actually La Liga team, if you're in their academy team, it's like the MLS here. Your kid doesn't pay.
Yeah.
He would not have paid for soccer. We would have only paid to live in the dorm each month so that he could have transportation back and forth to training, 3 meals a day, a nutritionist, a gym, access to a gym, and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So that's amazing. Now, I know our time's winding down, so I want to make sure we get on this.
Sure.
Because I want parents to understand the difference between the rest of the world and here. We talked about it, and I want to bring it up again, and I want to make sure we get it all in here. You talked about parent politics and parents intervening, and I feel like the pay-to-play model makes the parent the customer.
Correct.
And over there, the parent's not the customer. The club's the customer, and the parent is the, I don't know how to put it, the third party.
Yeah, the benefactor of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give? I'm debating, I'm going to stop really quickly because I can edit this however I want. I can take what you said earlier and put it here, or would you like me to re-bring it up and we can talk about it again?
I don't care. Whatever, it's your show.
I think what she said, and it would all come from her anyway. I think what she said was pretty spot on.
Then I will move that section, and we'll continue on because I don't want to miss that. I want to make sure we capture that because at the end of the day, to me as a parent, that's huge. It is making parents understand that the rest of the world, you're not in control. When I interviewed Coach Sonny here, he's an FC Dallas's IDP coach, and he left his home in Nigeria at, what was it, to go to play in Spain? And he was kind of left on his own and kind of figured it all out. And he got his Spanish citizenship, played on the Spanish U19 team, was just sent over there and has played all over the world since then. And now is back in the United States coaching here and played for Real Salt Lake for a hot minute. And it's amazing that parents don't understand, but his parents let him go.
Yeah.
They had no control.
Yeah.
I think parents are in the United States, whether they ever intend for their kids to go overseas or not, are doing such a huge disservice to their child by acting like complete assholes. And they just, when you dictate to a coach
your expectations,
I don't want my kid to play in that position, or my kid's not getting enough playing time, or my kid's better than that kid and should be getting this. You're the coach now. We were told this when we first went over there for our very first international tournament by a scout from Cyprus that was working with Alpha Forums to get these kids to come over and do these tournaments. He said, we look, when we're scouting kids from other countries, we look at the parents. We look at how they act during a game. We look at how they talk to the coaches and the refs and the other kids. Are they yelling and screaming? Are they acting like complete lunatics? Are they trying to coach their kid from the sideline? He was like, we will not take a kid if that's what we're going to have to deal with, is those parents. We don't care how good the kid is. We will. So when I say the parents are doing a disservice to their kids, even if your long-term goal isn't professional soccer or to get overseas somewhere, if you want your kid to actually have playing time, don't make the coach hate your kid because you're a jerk. That's my advice.
Yeah, you can add that in.
No, I will add that in. No, I look at it from my perspective. You talked about parents yelling at their refs. I have, for a very long time, know that the only thing I yell at my son is to work harder.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can tell him to do because I can't tell him how to play the game. I'm not him. I'm not on there playing. I'm not smart enough to play like he plays. But I do lose my temper with the referee.
So do I.
But I will be honest. It's like there's certain things. Like once certain things hit my threshold, I'll start nitpicking. I went this past weekend, and I'll be honest. I'm very honest about my opinions on referees, and I went 75% of the game without saying a word and just enjoying it. And the last 25%, I started to get mad because I'm starting to nitpick. How can you miss an offside player by 5 yards?
Yeah.
Or how can... Yeah. If we can see it from the stands, a player's offside, I don't care if it's our player or another player. Yeah. Consistently good or consistently bad.
I'm you, and this is where my husband's strength comes in. He shuts me down on the sideline because he doesn't want me to get kicked out.
I get told to go for a walk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know people now, so I go complain.
There you go.
And it doesn't. I'm not complaining because I want my son to win. I can give a perfect example of this. He was in a tournament, and the ref is calling the game one way, and it's blatantly obvious. Mm-hmm. And the team was a year younger. We knew a lot of the families on the other team. We had a good friend on the other team, and they're playing a year up. But the ref was calling the game as if he was playing like a big age gap, and one team can't get touched. And I went over and complained. I go, they can slide tackle from behind, but our player goes in 50-50, we're getting called for the foul.
Yeah.
I go, it's not the same. I go, I just want it to be called fair. And I go, and all the center ref was the only 18 plus, and the other two were green badge refs. And I'm not going to sit there and yell at a ref.
Yeah.
Especially a minor, or say anything to them. And so
Yeah.
I got up and ran to the person, and I'm like, look, I just want the game calling fair. We're winning. You think I'm going to complain I'm losing? We're winning, and I'm still here complaining about the officiating because I want the game to be called fair.
Yeah.
I don't care about the outcome. We can lose the game, and I'll still be happy.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
Call the game fair. And I go, I'm learning to go talk. There's certain things now, having to got sports enough times now in the last couple of months. I am a little bit more stringent now, and especially when it comes to certain things. And as a parent, it takes a lot more patience, and I'm telling you, I need to go officiate.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother story.
And I'm not saying parents shouldn't, if they have a coach that is I'm not saying a parent shouldn't step in if it's needed. If a coach is being abusive, either verbally or, God forbid, physically, 100% step in. But if we're just talking about playing time, position, let the coach. And
my wife always tells me we pay really good money for a coach. Let the coach do his job.
Yeah.
And she goes, if I see something that's not just, that's when we'll step in.
Yeah.
And it's not picking on anyone. It's not. And we do a lot of research before we go with a coach.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wrap it up, since you both have had a heads up now, because Easton's already answered my favorite question.
God, I don't even know.
So I'm going to ask it on a two-form factor, because it is, you have the experience as a parent, but you also have raising an athlete, and then you also have sending your kid off to a foreign land. So athlete or athletes, because you have multiple kids that can play multiple different sports. And then who has been the greatest influence on each one of you on preparing and going through this process of Spain and the next chapter of his soccer career?
Oh boy, both tough ones, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it's my mother, believe it or not. My mom was always there pushing me on sports. My dad was a radiologist and worked crazy hours, so he was there, but definitely it was my mom. My mom, I was a pitcher at times when I was young in baseball, and she wore the gear, right? Catching for me. And so that's what I remember. And from the same thing, she was always one that was adventurous to go travel and do things. So she took trips with my sister for school internationally to Paris and things like that. So I would say a lot of that, and just being able to see my mom take that with my sister and to be there for me from a sports perspective, that's where I would say I got most of that. Yeah.
What about soccer and navigating all that?
Nobody. From a soccer perspective, that's the challenge, is I barely know the rules, right? So I just probably have to learn from the coaches that I've gotten to know and everything along those lines. So I don't really have a true answer from a soccer perspective. So yeah.
I think I grew up and I was in gymnastics, so I love that your daughter's doing gymnastics. And I did competitive gymnastics through high school, and my mom and dad both instilled with all of my brothers and sisters, you need to school is important, but so is physical activity. And I just remember them always being there. I was at gymnastics practice at 5 a.m, my mom was taking me. If I was at gymnastics in the afternoon, my dad was taking me or picking me up. They were at every meet, every game, or every cheer thing I had, and then with my sister, they were at every softball. So we just always, I think they just instilled in me and my siblings. We all support each other as a family. We all cheer each other on. We all hold each other accountable, and we're gonna, whatever we do at 150%, you're not gonna ever start a team and then quit mid-year, even if you don't like the team, even if we don't like the team, you're gonna stick with it until the end. And so my parents, I really appreciate that they put that in me. And then from a navigating soccer landscape, we've really learned it all on our own. But I'd say this is maybe not what you were looking for, but if I had to say one person that has molded my perspective of how I want to be as a parent of an athlete in this sport or in any sport. It's Bobby Quinn. And the reason I say that, Logan Quinn played with Easton. He always in Alpha played a team up above Easton until the last few years there. But when we were not on a team and we were playing at soccer box when he was little, and he was always watching Easton, watching his work ethic, watching him improve, watching him. But he was going back then to Ron and to the top coaches, and he was advocating for our kid. And he was saying, I don't know if you're watching this kid or not, but he's got something, and you need to take him under your wing, and you need to mentor him, and you need to teach him because he can be taught, and he's wants it, and he's got always. Even when we went to Spain and came back, he had already gone to DKSC, and with Coach Pedro, he was advocating for him and saying, I don't know what it's going to take for you to get this kid, but if you can get him. And so what I've learned from that and what I've always tried to do is look on the team for the kid that might be getting overlooked, but is working very hard and loves it. And his parents, he's got all the right things, but for whatever reason, coaches have their favorites, and he's not one of the coaches' favorites. My kid right now is the coach's favorite. So I have that platform, and I have his ear, and I can say, look at this kid. Why are you not playing this kid? And why would I not? It doesn't hurt my kid to do that, to bring someone else along. And so I'd say Bobby Quinn and what he always did for Easton. And I don't know that Easton would have ever made the top team without him, because Ron might have just overlooked him. He became one of Ron's favorite players and kids, and he was like Ron's own son, but it took that parent stepping in and advocating. And I want to be that type of person and that type of parent.
Over these conversations with Easton, Kristie, and Mark, one thing stood out to me. Talent matters, but parenting, environment, work ethic, and the love of the game matters just as much. As a parent myself, these conversations hit home. They challenged me, reinforced things I believe, and honestly made me think differently and how I'm going to support my kids in their own journey. My hope is these episodes do the same for other parents listening. Whether you're a kid chasing a local team, college soccer, or a dream halfway around the world, a big thanks to Kristie and Mark for coming on and opening up about the process, the struggles, the sacrifice, and what soccer parenting really looks like. And a big thanks to Easton for sharing his journey as well. And I also have to thank my wife for spotting this family on social media, telling me I need to talk to them because these conversations have made a huge impact on me. And I want to congratulate Easton on all of his soccer journey and endeavors so far. And I really enjoyed watching him play in the Dallas Cup and seeing what his swagger on the pitch looks like. It's amazing what you get to see when you take a moment and step back. And a big thanks to the Brooks family for joining me. Hey everyone, if you guys have enjoyed this podcast, have enjoyed what I've been trying to do, the messages that I'm putting out there, please give me some ratings, some stars on all the podcast sites that you listen to this on. Give me a review, share with others. The more I can make this grow, the more I can continue doing this. I'm really trying to make a difference in our soccer community. So I hope you guys have enjoyed all this. And until next time, I'll see you at the pitch.